Good afternoon. Welcome to Community Matters. My name is Becky Steinbrunner, and I am honored to be your host here for the next 2 hours. Today, as we have been doing here on SantaCruzVoice.com, we are honoring the good work of those wonderful nonprofits in our community that are doing good work in the community. And at this time of year, and actually all year, but especially at this time of year, they need your help. Financial and any help you can provide. So we are highlighting their work and giving them an opportunity to talk with you about their stories and the good work that they are doing. Today's program will feature 4 such nonprofits. My first here in the studio is Ms. Sarah Beck with Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library. At the mid of the hour, we will have L'Oreal Wetzel from Aruka Project. And then at 3, the second hour, we will host Second Harvest Food Bank with Miss Dawn Barreras, and then finish off the afternoon with Loaves and Fishes, Miss Ashley Bridges. So we have quite the lineup here, and I want to thank you all for joining us here this afternoon on Community Matters. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Miss Sarah Beck here in the studio. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Becky, so much for having me. This is wonderful.
This is wonderful. Thank you. And we were talking out in the lobby. We both share loves of garden. So
Absolutely.
We'll have to have you back because we're hoping to get a future garden show on Santa Cruz Voice. So we'll call you back in. But today you're here talking with us about Friends of Santa Cruz Public Libraries. Why don't you introduce yourself and that wonderful organization?
Oh, thank you so much. So the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries we are an amazing nonprofit organization that supports the entire Santa Cruz Public Library system. And that includes 10 branches throughout the county, as well as all kinds of outreach, bookmobile, you name it, jail reach, wonderful different areas of outreach throughout the whole county. And we do this through fundraising, advocacy, and volunteerism. Our fundraising is probably the most well-known because that is, a very, very big and important part of what we do. We are right now working on a couple of different campaigns, but we are always working towards supporting the library's core programs. And a lot of what we do during the year is support literacy-related fundraising and literacy programs throughout the system. Those literacy programs, it's interesting, people think of the library, and I think there's sort of a classic idea that, the library is just this place that stores tons and tons of books. And yes, there are many, many books, but the library is so much more than books now. And there are, I think there were something like almost 5,000 programs last year, throughout the system. There are so many things you can borrow that are actually not books.
Right.
And
telescopes.
Of course, telescopes. You can get a nature exploring kit. You can get all kinds of really
free
interesting
park
things.
passes. Free passes to the state parks.
Very popular.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, so many different services and really, as many different types of offerings as there are, people's needs and interests. There's just so many things going on at the library. And, as social centers, as community centers, people come together and they, learn how to do something together, or they get support in their job seeking. There's just so many amazing stories that I've heard just in the last year. I heard a wonderful story. There are so many groups that get together and learn games and do puzzles.
Yes.
It's just amazing. Or everything from young people doing Lego to adults.
Chess.
And there's chess and there's
Great
Dungeons and
events.
Dragons and all this stuff. And these are spaces where people get together and they become friends and they connect to their community. It's wonderful to hear stories like that. And I also hear stories from, parents who really appreciate the science, technology, engineering, and math programming, and they come in and, they feel like their kids are getting excited about a science project, or those who really appreciate what an equalizer it is to come into the library and get support for job seeking, or for starting a new business. I mean, there are just so many incredible ways that, we see this, how libraries can be economic drivers, in the center of our, and we'll get into talking about the downtown, but I think that there's a number of things to think about in terms of, how that library space is part of the rest of the workings of a healthy community.
Yeah. You mentioned the jail outreach.
That's right.
And I learned about that for the first time. I had the honor of serving on the Santa Cruz County Civil Grand Jury, and we visited the jail. We visited the juvenile hall up on Graham Hill Road, and there were people there from the library working with those young people. Some of them really needed that help and encouragement and confidence. So the library is an amazing thing, and it is all for free.
And it is all for free. That's right. That's right. I mean, when we think about, and again, not to discount all of the other amazing experiences you have within the fabric of our town and our city. But having a civic space to be that does not cost anything to be in that space, it's incredibly meaningful. And then obviously there's, there are these wonderful calculators that you can kind of look up, well, if you had to buy all of the books you borrowed, or if you had to, do all of the things you do at the public library and actually have to pay for them. I mean, obviously it's a huge financial savings. But, I think what's magical is that everyone has that equal access to the sharing of these resources, and it's not so much that it matters if you have the money to buy a book. I mean, it feels, I think, to many of us in the community that sharing a resource actually makes sense.
Yeah,
we don't have to own everything individually.
Right.
We can share things.
Right. I had a neighbor that was very much a collector of books, and her house was like a library. But there were so many books that I felt, golly, that should be out in the public, but she was a collector, and she just had to have them, But I really do appreciate the library. I go to the library every day, and I really appreciate the knowledgeable staff, the good, respectful, clean spaces that are there for everyone to use. So how can we help friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library do all this?
Oh, wow. Well, let me start by talking a little bit about the downtown campaign, since we are specifically talking about Santa Cruz Gives right now, and all of the amazing nonprofits that are working together to share their stories right now. Our Downtown Capital campaign is a very special one right now because it is the 10th of 10 projects in the last decade that have come to fruition. Either every one of the county libraries in this system has been rebuilt or renovated in the last decade.
Wow.
This is the last one. And the downtown library is the hub. It is the central hub of all of the system. And again, I was talking about kind of these different areas of outreach and all these things that happen, reference, and tons of the services that are present throughout the whole system really come from this central library. So it's the big one. It's in the county seat. And it's going to be a very prominent building. It's going to be a beautiful building. It's part of an interesting collaborative construction project. We are raising money entirely for what is called Phase 2, which is specifically the library portion of this project. It's going to be a gorgeous building. The architect has done an amazing job looking
all
at
glass.
There's
That's
a lot
what
of glass.
I think is amazing.
There is a lot of glass, but it's all environmentally, carefully chosen material. There is going to be a living roof in addition to a roof deck, and that living roof is going to be all native plants. We're talking about plants, and that's a really exciting part.
On the library itself, or in the building adjacent. There's a parking garage and
Correct.
Affordable housing. Lots of stuff is going in.
A lot of stuff is going on, but this is actually on the roof of the library.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's going to be really interesting. And again, there are all kinds of environmental benefits to having that living roof.
Right.
But the roof deck will be accessible through, and again, you mentioned the glass. There will be a beautiful mezzanine that opens out onto this roof deck.
Oh.
And, just in terms of these civic spaces and where we'll be able to just go and spend a little time. I mean, the community room space, all of these spaces are going to be wonderful gathering areas for a variety of events, activities. I can imagine we'll be popping up there for networking events and music events. Right now, there are already, I think the downtown library has about 22% of the programming that is throughout the whole system.
Is that right?
If you've ever gone by for actually happening, just finished happening a little while ago, was the Munching with Mozart program. There are programs with live music for free that happen regularly. Just imagining going into these new spaces, or if you're looking for a place to have a business meeting. I know we're right in a space right here where a lot of folks, come and share office space. Imagine being able to say, I'm going to pop down to the downtown library and hold a really important meeting in one of the meeting rooms that, again, for free, I can reserve and use that space. Or do a job interview or have an important meeting on Zoom and be able to be in this very professional. Again, it's very equalizing. Not everyone has all of the equipment that they need at home or fast, reliable internet. There are so many things that the library allows you to operate in the world in an equal space to really anyone.
If you've just tuned in, we're talking here with Miss Sarah Beck from Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library. We are hosting her as one of the Santa Cruz Gives beneficiaries. We're highlighting that good program Santa Cruz Gives here during the holiday season. So if you have a few extra dollars you'd like to contribute and get a tax write-off, consider donating to Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library. We're talking about the capital need for the new downtown library, and we were talking a bit before this interview how there have been some people that really didn't want to see that change. I think you described where we are at now with the project in a very good way. Can you relay that to the audience, please?
Oh, absolutely. I realize that we're really experiencing a lot of change in the city, especially in that downtown space. And what I've really heard from people is that the library is something we can all come together on. And when we think about what we want the fabric of this community to feel like as we move through an unknown future, things are changing. We can see how that space can become a place for all of us to connect and to, again, experience the benefits. I recently spoke with the Chamber of Commerce about how many economic benefits a downtown library can have. And it's really very interesting to look at some of the research on this. There are so many, in addition to the fact that, yes, there is more foot traffic to businesses that are around a downtown public library. That in and of itself is meaningful. But it's amazing just how much it benefits the whole community when the library is supporting individuals. And we think all of those examples you and I were just talking about, add up to, building a workforce for the future, helping to nurture businesses, helping to nurture people individually. And then, of course, there's all of these, social services and, there are veteran services and tax services and, services for, really anyone who has a need, and bringing those folks to one space where we all experience this, beautiful museum-like building when we're doing those all of these activities. It's really an incredible benefit for everyone, and it really does help to define what it feels like to be in that downtown space. As we see a variety of changes taking place.
The current downtown library, you just mentioned Veteran Services, does have a little office there for veterans. Is that going to be included in the new branch?
Oh my gosh. Well, let me say that the new downtown branch has an incredible plan for the Life Literacies Center, and there will be really, really upgraded opportunity or upgraded spaces for community partnerships. And that's a really good example. I'm glad you brought that up because there will be a lot of opportunity for many of the library's partners come into those spaces and offer services. And in addition, I mean, as if it wasn't enough that the library does thousands and thousands of programs themselves, they also do amazing partnerships with other organizations in the area that are, perhaps have special expertise that they can bring and offer something that the library programs don't. So it's a great thing.
And something I had not thought about was that the library is somewhat of an archive of things, and I was honored to be able to go with the Researchers Anonymous group to a back scene tour of all of the archived periodicals and things that are currently in the downtown library, and that you can, with appointment, go take a look if you're a researcher.
Local history is a huge, and actually I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that is a specialty of that downtown library as well, is that local history.
They have local history and genealogy.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's all going to carry over to the new branch.
Absolutely. And
excellent.
Yes, in fact, if you're looking for a very large gift, naming gift opportunity, some of those areas are still unnamed. So actually, if there are some opportunities there.
Tell us a little bit about that in case anybody's listening and it's just.
Well, I'm happy to share that. I will also say that what I want to emphasize, though, is that really smaller gifts, and any gift is meaningful when you give to the new downtown library, as well as any gift to the Friends. But the new downtown library, for $1,000, you can have your name, your family name, or your business name on the donor wall right in the lobby of this beautiful new building. And it is a stretch gift for a lot of families. It was for me, I'll be honest. But I also feel like this is a very special opportunity, for those of us who are going to be going into this building, going forward, bringing in family members. I think my child seeing our family name on that, every time she goes into the library, it's going to be really special. We have obviously larger opportunities, but again, giving a gift to the downtown library, everyone can be a friend to this library, and we can all have that shared feeling of ownership. And when you contribute, it just adds that good feeling, like you're contributing to this place. And just like we've been describing, all of these ways that we know our community members are supported by this public library, all of these services, all of these materials. I mean, it's a really good feeling. And I love hearing from people who, are excited about contributing. It feels good. You can give modestly, you can, and you are still being very generous. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to be able to support your own library system. So I highly encourage, if folks are really connected to the downtown or would like to see their name on that downtown library, please do go to the Santa Cruz Gives opportunity. I'm happy to talk to anyone who's interested, of course, in a much larger gift, because we have some big room naming opportunities that go up from that from that 1,000 all the way up to a great deal.
Tell us how we can link in with Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries if we want to contribute in any amount.
Oh, absolutely. So in addition to the santacruzgives.org opportunity to search for Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries, you can also go to friendsofsantacruzlibraries.org. And we have, as I mentioned, we have an end-of-year campaign going. You can also just explore some of the ways on our website that we support as I mentioned, literacy programs. I mean, so many things that are going on at the library. Is
it possible if someone, say, had some extra change, but really wanted it to go to, let's say, the Felton Library or the Boulder Creek, can people earmark their donations?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, we have a main giving portal on our website where you could make a specific branch gift. Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
And we have friends chapters in I will say most, not all of the libraries. We are actually hoping to build one for the downtown in the coming year. So, but yes, we have friends groups that are doing great work, and in that local branch level, the friends do a lot to support the specific programs of a specific branch or the equipment or specific needs of of those spaces, because we have a really interesting and diverse county filled with libraries that all have their own neighborhood personality. So it's really fun because a lot of the time you get that grassroots sense of what the needs are, and especially with the great relationships with the library staff and really understanding, what are some of the specific needs to these branches, and where do they need some funding directed to them.
The librarians themselves are amazing people.
They are amazing
people, and I really respect them all, and am very grateful for their patience, their kindness, their compassion, and their knowledge is amazing. Yeah,
they are, and they're pretty radical human beings, really, in the sense that they create access to everyone for everything that they need. It's I think the librarians are all those things you just said, and I think they are so much more too. I mean, they're really thinking about what the needs are of tomorrow and tomorrow's patrons. I mean, it's really interesting to hear them talking about how they will evolve services and programming as the world changes. They're very forward thinking and really, as you say, just brilliant people.
Indeed. If you've just tuned in, we're interviewing here, talking with Miss Sarah Beck, Director of the Friends of Santa Cruz County Libraries. And I really want to thank you for taking the time to come to the studio here today and to talk with us about what the libraries are doing. Do you have any stories about patrons that you have come into contact with, or you have stories you've been told by librarians where having a library really made a difference in someone's life?
Oh my gosh. It's really amazing. I mean, this really does happen all the time. We get these anecdotal stories. But actually, I recently, when we sent out our end of year letters, we decided to go ahead and let people write something in when they returned a gift to us. And it just said, what really motivates you about supporting the public libraries?
Yeah.
And I have just been so astounded by the touching responses we've gotten. We got one this week from a gentleman who said that his first experience in the Santa Cruz libraries was in the early 30s.
Wow.
And he is still a patron of the libraries now. And he just exuded in this description, how important the libraries have been to him for clearly, decades on decades. So that was really special. We've had some other comments from people just about, again, that feeling of equity. There was a great one, and I hope I can quote this one properly, but he said, if just as the Colt was the equalizer among men, now this is like an old reference, an Americana reference, the library is the equalizer among minds.
Now, well said, huh?
Right? No,
well
I thought
said.
that was just amazing. But, I think folks really, some of the things that I've heard from people recently is just that feeling of, it doesn't matter who I am.
Yeah.
I come in and, again, I'm treated respectfully. I'm offered, all of the support and services and all of the materials that I might need or want. And, that's very special to people.
I go to the library daily, as I said, and I see some people, the same people there, and I go to a lot of different branches too, depending on where I am. But the common thread is that people are learning, they are exploring, they are helped by knowledgeable, patient staff to find what they are looking for. I see elderly people who are not computer literate but have to do something online, and those librarians are angels because it's
Absolutely.
very frustrating, but they help them navigate and get something done. Sometimes it's a younger person with a job application. Sometimes, it's just helping a group of young kids, like toddlers, find books that are fun for them. It truly is an amazing place, the public library. So we're very grateful to have that in our community. And in many, many areas, talk with us about your favorite branch. Do you have a favorite branch?
Oh my gosh, you know that I can't
That's
say
a loaded
I
question.
can't say I have a favorite branch.
I can tell you mine.
Well, that's okay for you to have a favorite branch. I'm glad. No, I think that honestly, if you haven't been to multiple branches just to check them out,
Yeah.
I highly recommend that. I was talking to actually someone who works at the city recently who said that on weekends they like to take their kids to the different branches.
Yeah.
And, it is all one system too. You can take a book to one
Right.
and pick something else up there and go to another one.
Right.
It's really fun to see. There are beautiful architectural differences
Right.
in each of these buildings as well. Their settings are all different. And again, the community members that are there are all different.
Right.
You might go and pick up an experience or go to a class, go to a performance, go to a talk, spend some time with some community members you haven't met.
Yeah. There are a lot of really good programs too. And you can go to any of them. How do we find out what is being offered? Like there are authors talking.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So there are many ways to get that information. I will say that some of the newsletters are probably a great place to start. There is a Santa Cruz Public Library newsletter you can sign up for on the library site, and then there's also ours on our site, and we focus on different things. There's a little bit of crossover, but the Friends emphasize a number of programs that and we also tell a lot of stories about the library that perhaps they're not telling about themselves. We're in the enviable position of getting to gush about what they're doing. So we try to make sure that we're pointing out a number of these stories ourselves, and so that's one thing we do in our newsletters. There are also things that the Friends do at branches that you might not think of, such as art exhibitions, which is fun. And that's another great example of a way you can go visiting, have some fun visiting some of the other branches that you don't go to normally, because there are a lot of artists' work that are being displayed in some of these libraries.
Yeah.
And you'll have a couple of months. If you get our newsletter, you can check out, oh wow, there's a painter I've been wanting to see their work, and I can go up to Felton and check that out, or go over to Aptos and see.
Native American masks at the Aptos Library, right along with their history exhibit.
That's right. Another interesting
Excellent.
Partnership.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How can people volunteer their time?
Well, that's another option that you can find on our website. You actually can be a library volunteer and a Friends volunteer, or one or the other, depending on how much time you have available and what your interests are. If you go to friendsofsantacruzlibraries.org, you're welcome to check out the different branch sections on the website, because our Friends groups that are at each branch absolutely welcome people to drop in to their regular meetings. I would say that the majority of them have a monthly meeting that you can just pop in on and check out and have a conversation, find out what they're working on. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I told you that our time would fly by, and here we are. So what would you like to leave with our listeners here today? And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I just want to thank everyone in the community who experiences and participates in our library system. And if you find different ways to be a friend to our libraries, I think it really is wonderful no matter which ways you choose. If you choose to advocate for the library, if you choose to donate funds to the library, if you choose to simply participate in all that the library has to offer.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sarah Beck from Friends of Santa Cruz Public Library. Thank you very much for joining us and for your good work.
Oh, thank you.
All the best to you.
Thank you, Becky.
All right. Take care. I'm going to ask you just to let yourself out. I think my next guest is going to be calling. Thank you very much, and happy holidays to you. All right. For those of you joining us, we're going to transition to our second interview here. Oops, I think I just turned off the telephone. Thank you very much, Ms. Beck. And we'll talk again soon about those gardens. All right. I apologize. I'm going to have to reconnect now with the calling ability so that my next guest can join us by phone. So bear with me here as I talk myself through this process, and I apologize. You're listening to Community Matters. My name is Becky Steinbrunner, and I am very happy to be here with you this afternoon. Let's see if that goes. Yes. There we are.
You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface. Audio recording is on. Dual channel.
All right. Well, that's all good news. Means I pushed the right buttons at the right time in the right place. So I'm hoping that my next guest will be calling in, and that will be Miss L'Oreal Wetzel, calling in from Aruka Project. While we're waiting for her to telephone in, I would like to just give a shout out to Satellite Workspace and Digital Media Center here where we are located. This wonderful place is at 325 Soquel Avenue in Santa Cruz. That's between Ocean Street and the San Lorenzo River. If you need a quiet, clean place for your work, your remote work, for a meeting, you can even have your mail delivered here and do your remote business here. This is the place. Let me tell you, it is clean, quiet, and very pleasant. So I urge you to come take a look at Satellite Workspace and Digital Media Center at 325 Soquel Avenue in Santa Cruz. You can come by appointment for a tour, and I believe it's the second Wednesday of the month. You can do your work here and check it out and see if it fits what you need for free. All right, here is my second guest, and I'll bring her on. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
I can.
Excellent. Thank you so much for calling in and joining us here today. I have here for my listening audience Miss L'Oreal Wetzel, who is the Executive Director of Aruka Project, another great local nonprofit in our community doing very, very important work, and we need to support them. So without further ado, L'Oreal, you want to just introduce yourself and tell us about Aruka Project?
Absolutely, Becky. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, my name is L'Oreal Weitzel, and I am the founder and executive director of Aruka Project, a local nonprofit that rescues and restores survivors of sex trafficking. While we are located here in Santa Cruz, we've worked with victims all over the state of California and actually all over the United States. We do prevention and education work through our training platform, Truth to Freedom. We also do active rescue and recovery through our 24/7 chat, where a victim, if they are able to access a phone or perhaps a laptop or a computer and are able to try and search for some anti-trafficking help, our hotline is available for them to reach out to. And then we work with very closely with law enforcement. We're so thankful for a law enforcement family to help get them actively out of sex trafficking. Once they have been rescued, whether by us or by a local law enforcement or maybe perhaps the DA's office, we are then able to help them with aftercare such as emergency shelter, emergency medical care, which a lot of them do need upon rescue. We then help them get, if they want to pursue a case, legal resources. We also help with emergency food, clothing, anything they may need right after and upon rescue. And then when they're ready, access and resources to perhaps go back to school or job training, job mentoring. We work with adults and children. We work with men, women, and children. And to work with children, we have a licensed foster family agency through the state of California, where we are licensed to work with trafficked children ages 0 to 18 and then non-minor dependents 18 to 21.
Wow. That is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a lot. So feel free if you have any questions.
Well, I have read the recent Santa Cruz County Civil Grand Jury report about human trafficking in Santa Cruz County. And I was kind of shocked to learn that, yes, it is happening right here. Can you talk with us a little bit about the need here in Santa Cruz County and how Aruka Project is working with the local people to help with that?
Absolutely, Becky. The Santa Cruz Civil Grand Jury did an amazing report back in June about the realities of human trafficking here. Now, we here at Aruka Project, we've known that we're a top 5 hotspot. It's why we do what we do. We are a destination location. We're right off of 17, and the one is also so easy to get back on to get to the next town. So we are a destination location. We are a top 5 hotspot, like in California. The Civil Grand Jury report did an amazing report on how not only is it truly happening here, but also how the community could truly work together to provide the resources that victims need to get out and to stay out. We alone here at Aruka Project, on average, we get 5 to 7 calls a week.
Wow.
That's from victims in our own community. That's from organizations in our community that may be reaching out for help, local law enforcement. It's also from victims that we get, again, like I mentioned before, while we're stationed here in Santa Cruz County, we go where we're needed. So it could be calls from, say Watsonville area or Monterey or down in San Jose, Southern California, or we've also helped victims in Missouri and Texas, Nevada, Utah, and Hawaii. And so while we love our town, let's not, I don't want to say our town and just focus on that. Our town is beautiful. We have the beautiful beaches and the redwoods. But also on top of that, because we're such a popular destination location, we're also a location that's very high in human trafficking as well. And so the Civil Grand Jury did a report where they highlighted that and also highlighted the nonprofits that are fighting it, with Aruka being one of them. Aruka Project is the only one that is solely focused on this population and the only survivor-led one. We have incredible survivors on our team. It is such a joy to work with them and to have them fight for others to continue to help get others out is such a privilege. And so we were so thankful for the grand jury and their amazing report that they came out that was so detailed. They did so much work on it, and we were so thankful that they truly highlighted the importance of that it is happening here, because it has started conversations in the community amongst those that can get together and make a difference, which has been so amazing to have. While we have communication with the general public and that it does happen here, the Civil Grand Jury report did highlight and bring it really to the top of the conversations, which was amazing. Wow,
that is good to know, because a lot of times people kind of consider grand jury reports as, it's just a bunch of volunteers doing work, but it's meaningful work. It is very very well researched work, and documented work, and with the purpose of making things better in the community. So I am glad to hear that it has started those conversations in our community. That's very good.
Absolutely, and I'm so thankful for those people that did it, because it took a lot of work and a lot of research and a lot of time. And so I'm super thankful for those who were on the civil grand jury that did take the time to put their focus onto this problem that very is such a problem here in our community.
And that is something that I think people don't know or don't want to think about, but our youth especially are vulnerable. So tell us how, first of all, I want to back up. Aruka. Tell us what Aruka means. And I'm sorry, I meant to ask you that right out of the bat, but it's an interesting name. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Yeah, so the term itself, Aruka, it's a Hebrew word that means restoring to wholeness in spirit, soul, and body. And that's really how Aruka started, was just this want and desire to help victims get out, and when they did get out, surround them with all the resources they could to heal emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, in every way possible that this trauma has affected them, but to get the community to be able to surround them. It truly does take a village to help a survivor go from victim to survivor to thriver. And that's really where we began, is to just surround them when they've been rescued, when they've been able to get out, with all the resources that they need to get out, to stay out, and to know that there's people out there fighting for them, wanting to provide them a safe place where they can feel loved and understood, with no judgment and no shame. And that's really where it started. And Aruka's grown because of all the need that was in Santa Cruz County and all the passions that came to this organization. It has grown to now prevention and education, active rescue and recovery, and it's continued the aftercare, where we can surround them with any resource that they may need, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, to be able to heal the whole person from the trauma that they've experienced.
Thank you for that good work. It's got to be very, very challenging, and I hope you take good care of yourself while you're doing that very difficult work. Aruka has a big project on your want list, and it's called Hope House. Do you want to talk with us about that and how people can help with that wonderful project?
Absolutely. So one of Aruka's goals since the beginning was to be able to open an emergency shelter where survivors could go immediately upon rescue. There are amazing shelters and other nonprofits focused on different populations, and survivors are sometimes welcome in those nonprofits or in those shelters as well. And we ourselves have placed survivors upon rescue in those shelters and other nonprofits. Rarely, though, are they able to stay because their trauma is so severe and so complex. And there's no other nonprofit that solely specializes in this particular trauma. And so we usually will get a phone call once we place the survivor in a different partner nonprofit or a shelter, maybe a few days, max to a week, saying, hey, you need to come get them because we just can't handle this trauma. And so, I myself have called 36 plus locations for one survivor that refused to take her simply for her trauma being too advanced for them to care for, or they just weren't willing to take it on, knowing that they couldn't with the other populations that they're serving, such as domestic violence survivors, sexual assault survivors, which I don't want to diminish at all. But we knew that we needed to open up a place that was solely for sex trafficking survivors, filled with staff that understood their trauma, so that when we say welcome, we mean it. Welcome. You are not going to get kicked out of here. You are safe here. You're surrounded by people who understand. So we have been trying to open up an emergency safe house here in Santa Cruz County for not just the survivors that we ourselves rescue, but that are rescued with the other partner organizations that we have come to partner with since 2019. And we found a location. We met an incredible couple who is very passionate about the work that we do and wanted to partner with us by selling us their house. And It's incredible. It's a beautiful home. It can start off with housing 6 survivors with room to grow up to 18, which is huge, especially in our area. So it will be the first 24/7 emergency care solely for sex trafficking survivors in our county.
Wow.
It's extremely exciting.
Say that again, because that is huge. Say that again.
Yes. Okay, it will be the first emergency housing 24/7 home solely for sex trafficking survivors in our community.
In Santa Cruz County.
In Santa Cruz County.
And the need is really there. That's what the thing that I read in the grand jury report was that those who are caught in the snare, the very dangerous, violent snare of human trafficking, often get out and then will return. Sometimes because they just don't feel like they have anywhere else to go. So the Hope House can provide that for them. And
absolutely
heal.
I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
And begin to heal. It is a lifelong journey, I would expect. So,
absolutely. We, at Aruka, we know that hope is the first thing taken and the last thing restored. And so that's why we felt even this home to be called Hope House, because it will give them a chance to see that hope can be restored. In this beautiful home, surrounded by people who understand and truly are saying, welcome, you are welcome here. And yes, the grand jury report really nailed it with on average, Becky, a victim will return back, unfortunately, to the life on average 7 to 12 times before they are ready to or find a place where they can feel understood and feel like they have their needs met. A lot of survivors, even that I've had the opportunity to speak with over the phone, the question that we get most of the time is, do you have a place for me to go tonight?
Yeah.
And more often than not, I would say no, or I can get you we can get you a hotel for a couple of nights. And if it's not guaranteed, if it's not certain, they won't risk running away and escaping. It's too big of a risk. And so sometimes the phone will just click, or the chat, if we're chatting online, will just end. Because it's not worth it if I can't guarantee and say, yes, I have a bed for you. We can get you out and we can get you to a safe place tonight. And with the Hope House, we can say yes.
Tell us, L'Oreal, how we can help make this happen.
If you at all are listening and want to help make Hope House a reality for the survivors that are in our community, you can go to our website, www.arukaproject.org, and you can donate to the Hope House. The purchase price is $1.5 million. We are fundraising. There's so many different ways for people to give. We have a Venmo and a PayPal. You can give directly on our website. For those who love GoFundMe, we have a GoFundMe platform open. There's a Zephy account open for those who know what Zephy is. It's a platform made specifically for nonprofits where 100% of donations, no fees whatsoever, are attached to it. So 100% of the donations go to the nonprofit. Right now, we need to fundraise for the purchase price to be able to purchase the home. We've had incredible people reach out with interest as a social worker or a case manager, or we had a construction company reach out for any renovations we may need. And so we do have community members reaching out with interest to participate in other ways, which has been so amazing to see the community light up with this opportunity to be able to be there for survivors. Our main focus right now, though, is fundraising for the funds to be able to purchase it.
Excellent. So on your website, it sounds like there are a lot of different ways. Can we send a check or somehow get you money other ways other than electronic?
Absolutely. If you feel like sending a check is the best way, please feel free to make out a check to Aruka Project, and you want to mail it to our mailing address, which is 230 Mount Herman Road, Suite 204, Scotts Valley, California, 95066. And that address is also on our website. It's another way that people can donate as well. And every penny counts, no matter how large or small the donation. It's going to get us closer to purchasing the Hope House to make it a reality, to be able to give hope back to the survivors who are right here in our community.
Yeah. And with two very large events scheduled for next year, just over the hill, the Super Bowl and the World Cup, I have heard there is a real increase in the likelihood of human trafficking in Santa Cruz County increasing. Can you talk with us about that?
Absolutely. So those two events are two of the biggest events for human trafficking. Now, there's hotels, there's people, and there's money, there's human trafficking. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest tracks, I'm so sorry for all you Disney lovers out there, including myself, but one of the biggest tracks in the nation is Anaheim Boulevard. Yeah. There's people, there's hotels, and there's money. So with these two big events coming into our community next year, Becky, you are 100% correct. Human trafficking is going to increase a little bit before that time and then during that time. I have actually been reached out by four other nonprofits and a law enforcement agency down in Santa Clara have all emailed me asking how we can partner together because they are aware that this is going to increase human trafficking in our area. And so there's already conversation happening. We've been talking to them about the biggest challenge is having a place for them to go upon rescue. So that's another reason why the Hope House is absolutely so needed because I know that organizations are already reaching out to us. Do you guys have a place?
Mm.
And so, yes, it is happening. So just keep that on your radar. For those who do enjoy those sporting events, not to say they're not great sporting events. I loved the Super Bowl growing up. I still do. It's an amazing event. However, my attention is now to what I fight every single day, which is the fact that these two events and other sporting events as well are huge for human trafficking. They bring in more people. Traffickers bring in the victims. And so the incredible thing is that other organizations are aware. We're communicating. And one of the biggest things that already has been requested by me, and this has been going on for a couple months, so let's see, it's December. Since October, I've been speaking with other organizations about these two sporting events coming up next year and about where victims are going to go upon rescue. So this is even more reason why the Hope House is so desperately needed, is because we know we're going to find them. We just need a place to be able to bring them so that they're safe and protected.
Yeah. And you also work with law enforcement to help them recognize the signs of human trafficking too, don't you?
Yes, we do. We're so thankful for our law enforcement here in Santa Cruz County, and that's been some of the greatest conversations we've had is those trainings and is what to look for. And so our local law enforcement's been such a great partner with us in combating it, making sure they're equipped for it. You know, when to call us anytime. Really, they can call us anytime. We'll take any phone call about human trafficking, even if general population aren't sure if what they're seeing is human trafficking. We're so happy to still take those phone calls.
Yeah.
And so the local law enforcement's been very responsive to not the grand jury report and wanting to partner and make our community safer.
That's good news. And I hope the fire responders and ambulance, the paramedics, are also on board with all of this.
Absolutely. We've had the privilege of training a couple first responders, EMTs and firefighters. So, rest assured they also it's been great response from the civil grand jury report. They too want to know what to see, how to look for it, and what to do if they spot it on their shift.
Excellent. We are almost out of time here. I want to just ask you, thank you, first of all, for your excellent work. And one more time, tell us how we can help Aruka Project.
Thank you so much again, Becky, for having me here. And if you would like to partner with the Aruka Project, our biggest need right now is finances to reach our $1.5 million goal of purchasing the house that will become Hope House and will be able to restore hope for the survivors in our community upon rescue. If you would like to partner with us in that, please go to our website, www.arukaproject.org, and feel free to give in any way that you think fit.
Thank you. And Aruka is spelled Arukah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Becky. Such a privilege to be here.
Thank you. I really am honored to speak with you, and thank you for your time and good work. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you as well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. All right, we are off the air, but we will be back on in a little moment with our second guest, and that will be Ms. Dawn Barreras from Second Harvest Food Bank, another great local nonprofit doing good work here in Santa Cruz County. So while we are off the air, I'm recording this program, so I will continue to speak a little bit about what we have just heard and to give you a bit of a program forward what we'll be doing now. So the first hour began with Miss Sarah Beck from Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries talking about the good work that the Friends of the Libraries do to help those who go to the libraries, those who work in the libraries, to have a very rich experience and to foster a sense of learning, curiosity, and moving their lives forward in whatever way that needs to be. Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries. And now, just in our second half of the first hour, was Miss L'Oreal Wetzel from Aruka Project. And again, that is spelled Arukah, Aruka Project, and that is a Hebrew word for restoring to wholeness. I urge you to take a look at that Santa Cruz County Grand Jury report. You can find it on the Santa Cruz County Civil Grand Jury website under reports, and you'll see it there. Human trafficking, voices unheard, signs unseen. And it was quite a read and an eye-opener indeed here to learn that it is human trafficking. Both sex and labor trafficking are happening here in Santa Cruz County. People of all ages, the youth especially, are vulnerable. And that is because social media has been the leveler for the traffickers to use. They are very sophisticated, very cunning in ways that they go about finding these young people online and quickly figuring out their weaknesses, their points of vulnerability. And this is not just poor kids, disadvantaged families. It is not that. It is kids all across the board. All across the board. And they are all vulnerable. So take a moment, read that report, look into it a little bit, and talk with your kids to help them recognize when they are being groomed and recruited into trafficking. It is happening, and it will increase in the near future with the coming of these two very large events, the Superbowl and the World Cup happening just over the hill. Santa Cruz is already a magnet because of the tourist destination, and it will increase the demand, if you will, for trafficking in our county with those two large events coming in. So check out the Santa Cruz County Civil Grand Jury report from last year, that human trafficking report, and talk with your kids, and talk with your schools, talk with your churches, and really start having these conversations. So our second hour, we will be joined by Dawn Barreras from Second Harvest Food, and the second part of the second hour will be Ashley Bridges from Paro Loaves and Fishes. You're listening to Becky Steinbrunner. I'm your host. We are technically off the air. We'll be getting back on the air here in a moment, but I'm just taking advantage of having some airtime here before we go back on. And I see that our third guest here is on. Let me bring you on. Hello, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Excellent. This is Dawn Barreras.
Yes, this is Dawn Barreras.
Thank you very much. We're not quite on the air. We've got 30 seconds, but if you want to talk, and I will do a sound check here.
Okay. Thanks for having us. I'm excited to talk to you and talk to our community today.
All right. Excellent. Okay, we've got about 15 seconds before we go live on the air, and I really want to thank you for joining us here today. I'll have you introduce yourself and start talking about the good work you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Help me out if I stumble.
Here we go. You're going to do just fine. So, welcome back for our second hour. We are now on the air on Community Matters. My name is Becky Steinbrunner, and I'm honored to be your host here for the second hour of our program. We have had some wonderful interviews throughout the week with different nonprofits, highlighting the good work happening in our community and urging people with some spare pennies to contribute what they can to different nonprofits via the Santa Cruz Gives campaign. The second hour now, I am honored to have as my first guest Miss Dawn Barreras, who is affiliated with Second Harvest Food Bank. Thank you very much for joining us here on Community Matters. May I call you Dawn?
Of course. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Dawn, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about the good work you and others do with Second Harvest Food Bank?
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Dawn Barreras. I'm the Senior Director of Donor Stewardship here at Second Harvest Food Bank, Santa Cruz County. And we are actually the only food bank serving Santa Cruz County. We're part of the Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks, which is about 200 food banks throughout the country. We distribute food to over 60 of our partner agencies across Santa Cruz County, serving 70,000 community members every single month. And that's on average. So we have seen some spikes. We're proud to be the first food bank in California and the second food bank in the nation. We've recently celebrated our 53rd year.
Wow. That's quite a legacy. The need has never decreased, has it?
We keep hoping and we keep preparing, but, we keep seeing spikes as well.
Yeah. I attend many local government meetings, and this has been discussed a lot given the government shutdown and many people losing for a while, the SNAP, the ability to get help with their food. Can you talk with us a little bit about what is going on in Santa Cruz County regarding the government shutdown and how Second Harvest Food Bank is stepping up to help?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that to the forefront. This year, we've faced funding cuts like many of our fellow nonprofits. It started in March when USDA funding was cut, and then it rolled right through to November when SNAP, which is called CalFresh in California, that was paused for over 2 weeks. And not only did it pause the benefits that people got, but it caused panic too, which should never be underestimated. So we saw a huge spike in November, and even at the end of October, people started